Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited for today's video. We're gonna do another money video, and today we're going to talk about, what are we gonna talk about? Oh, I'm gonna share with you guys, okay, wait, backstory. This is the worst intro ever. Oh well, okay, anyways. So I have been so deeply entrenched in like the scarcity mindset, which to me, that's like there's never enough. So today I'm just gonna share with you guys some things that I have done in the past, or my husband and I have done in the past, or we do right now, just like things that kind of help me. Okay, so my husband does not have a scarcity mindset. So it's basically just to help me. But yeah, anyways, this scarcity mindset, I feel like just comes from feeling like there's never ever enough, even when the numbers on the spreadsheet are like, no, you're fine, or maybe things are a little bit lean right now, but I feel like even if things are lean, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to absolutely like clamp down and go crazy and like have absolutely no fun, become a hermit or a recluse. And I used to be so absolutely stressed out. So I've had times like that, and they are happening less and less, and I feel less and less stressed. I cry so much less about money than I used to, which is such a miracle to me. But anyways, yes, today I'm going to share 10 tips or little strategies that you can use to feel financially at peace when you have that scarcity mindset, when you have a lot of money anxiety. So anyways, yes. Oh, also I forgot, my name is Alice. I like to talk about money, obviously, and I like to show you a little bit about my life. Okay, tip number 1 is to have free fun. A good way to make a very lean budget sustainable is to have free fun. It's not a good financial habit if it's not sustainable. Now, there are some things that you have to do like for a short season. I remember when my husband and I were buying our house, we're saving up for our down payment. We were living a very unsustainable way. We were saving every single penny. We were being super like, no, we can't buy anything right now. Okay, so some of my favorite fun, free activities to do are, okay, let me see. I have them on my computer right here. Go for a drive, bake. So baking, sometimes you're like, I don't have anything that, like you'll go for a recipe, you know, ask for the randomest things. You're like, oh, I don't want to spend any money. Just bake no bread. No, just bake shortbread cookies. It just requires like butter, flour, sugar, and maybe vanilla. I forget the 4th ingredient, but they're super easy. So you almost always have those ingredients. And so just baking a little batch of shortbread cookies is super fun and usually free. Rearrange home decor. So instead of going out and buying home decor, you kind of just rearrange it and refresh your spaces. Go for a walk or run. I know I like running. It's fun to me, and you can do it with your friends, but I digress. Movie night with popcorn. I feel like just watching TV can kind of get boring and you're like, oh, I don't want to watch TV. But suddenly if you include popcorn and getting your pajamas and like cute lighting, like with a candle or something, it becomes a super cool movie night. And then reading a book, which is more of a solo activity, but still really fun. You can go read a book at the library or at a park. That's free. And then watch a football game. My husband just told me, he's like, oh, I love college football. And he's just watching a full day of college football today, which is super fun. He's having his friends over tonight to watch a big college football game, BYU versus Utah. Oh, and that brings me to another important point. It's so important to find friends who are willing to do free stuff with you. I feel like some friends, you know, when you hang out, you have to go buy dinner with them, or you know, when you hang out, like they want to go shopping or something. Obviously, I'm not telling you to go and cut all your friends out of your life. I definitely haven't done that. But there's some friends where it's like, I know when I hang out with you, we can do a movie night at home, we can craft, we can do a potluck. I've done a lot of those things recently, especially in the more cozier months. I feel like in the summer we do a ton of movie nights with our friends because you can stay up super late because no school, you know? Just finding friends who are willing to do those free things and are understanding when you're like, hey, no, I need to do cheaper things. And by having free, fun things to do, when you have a lean budget, it helps you to not feel so stressed and have that money anxiety. And you can sustain the budget that you need to for the next month, the next year, whatever you need at the moment. Okay, tip number 2 is to decide your priorities. So basically, this comes from the concept of you have a limited amount of money. You have a limited amount of monthly money. You have a limited amount of money that you can even save. But in order to make your life meaningful with the money that you have, you need to decide the priorities that are most important to you. So, for example, basically this just means don't be unintentional with your money and kind of just spread it out through a ton of different things. Some things matter, some things don't matter. And then let time decide what you spend your money on. Because say all the unimportant things happen at the beginning of the month, and then at the end of the month, the really important things happen. You're like, oh, I wish I could go out for a birthday dinner with like my parents or something. Well, parents usually buy your food. But anyways, that was a bad example. Basically, be intentional with your money and decide your priorities. So for me and my husband, we decided that investing and traveling are really, really, really important to us, which means that We drive a crappy car. It's reliable. It's a Honda Accord. It's amazing, but it also is a 2007, more than 150,000 miles, and we only have one car. So I take public transportation because I would rather put that money towards traveling than I would towards getting a new car. We cut a lot of money for our monthly groceries, so we go to the cheapest possible place to shop for our groceries. We still eat pretty well. Not perfect. We're not like fitness people, but we still eat pretty good, I think. Today I've only had shortbread cookies and Panda Express, and it's 3 o'clock. Anyways, I am drinking lemon honey water though, which is, I feel like a beacon of health when I drink that stuff. Basically, look at your budget and choose like the budget lines where you're like, yes, I really care about this. I really care about this, and I really care about this. And these things I don't care about as much. So how can I cut back in those situations? And by doing so, you feel more meaning with your money because you're buying stuff that adds joy and adds satisfaction and meaning to your life, instead of just being like, oops, I forgot I can't pay for the things that matter the most to me. I accidentally spend them on all the things that I don't really care about this month. So tip number 3 is to accept waste. Now, if you have a scarcity mindset, this is probably like one of the hardest possible things for you, is to accept the fact that you are going to waste money, or you're going to be charged for things that you think are so pointless. I'm saying accept waste. I'm like on this YouTube channel being like, you should accept waste as a mindful, like as a scarcity mindset person. And then actually what happens to me is I have a $300 charge and I just like cried. I get so frustrated. I don't think I cry as much anymore. I just get so mad. I'm so frustrated at things. So like right now, what I'm learning is that I'm going to go and I'm going to buy clothes, and 1 out of every 10 articles of clothing I buy in the future is not going to be my thing, and I'm actually not going to really like it. And that's really hard for me because when I go to the store, I just want to spend my money in the most beneficial way, and it absolutely paralyzes me. So I think you do need to accept a little bit of waste, or at least that's what works for me, is to accept that I'm going to waste a little bit of money. Like the other day, we went and bought frozen yogurt. That was the most disgusting frozen yogurt I'd ever had. And I was like, but I didn't let myself get mad about it. I was just like, oh, we wasted this money, like now it's gone and that's fine. Tip number 3 is to make budgeting fun, which is definitely easier said than done. All right, so budgeting can be kind of an intense experience. I remember when I was younger, I was so scared to look at my bank account because I really didn't want to see how little money I had. And that at the time I had like $100, $200 at a time. So I was always so stressed out. I would also spend my entire paycheck at Target. So no regrets. I still have some of those clothes actually from when I was 16. Budgeting isn't always fun. And also it takes a little bit of trial and error to find exactly what type of budgeting will work, not perfectly for you, but the best way. And then eventually over time, your budgeting needs and your budgeting like happiness and joy will change. So at some point you might try one budgeting method and then you'll switch to another one. So what happens to work for me and my husband is I took the free Google spreadsheet, which I have a video, I'll link down below, that talks about how to set up the free budgeting spreadsheet through Google Docs. And I've kind of customized that a little bit to fit what I want it to look like and to be all cutesy and stuff. And so, yeah, we use that budgeting spreadsheet and we track our expenses. I wouldn't say I track our expenses like every single day. Some months I just track it like twice in that month, and then sometimes I'm tracking it like every other day. So it just depends on what works well for you. I know I've watched videos where people do cash envelope, like cash budgeting, which would be really fun if you wanted like the actual cash in your hands, or if you feel like you spend way too much on your card. And then there's other methods, like you can go to Etsy and they have a million budget spreadsheets that you can find that are super cute and that fit exactly what you do. Like if you're a credit card user, only debit, cash, things like that. But anyways, finding a good budgeting method is like absolute key. It helps you just to have a better relationship with money in general. Okay, and tip number 5 is to plan for fun. And basically, instead of just going and budgeting and being like, okay, we'll spend $100, $200, $300, $1,000 on fun, say exactly what you're gonna spend that money on. Even if it doesn't happen throughout the month, it just gets you really amped for the month and gets you really amped to like buy these things and buy these experiences and have a good time. And I feel like if you plan your fun money, then you'll have a better correlation or a better association with your monthly budgeting practices. Number 1, we have this budget of $200, $300 for fun that month. And it's like, okay, what do we want to do with this money? What do we want to do this month that will make us really happy? And so I think this month we're going to buy Christmas cards because we really want to make treats and drop that off at our neighbor's house, like get some clothes, get some gifts. So yeah, it just makes us like happier and to budget. And it also really helps like couples budgeting to have a good budgeting method or practice with each other, because it can get really intense sometimes and not always super fun. So Anyways, that is my tip for making budgeting a little bit more fun, specifically with your fun money. Okay, I think this is habit or tip number 6, and that is plan for splurging. So you guys, tell you a little bit of story about me. So yeah, I always have like this white knuckle grip on our finances, and I like to like account for every little cent, and I like to perfectly spend, 30% of the budget when we're 30% of the month way through, and 50% when we're 50% of the way through the month. Very, very controlled over our finances. And I find that when you're super controlled and you're super tightly wound about your money, eventually, maybe this doesn't happen to you, but it definitely happens to me where I kind of spiral, I kind of crash, then I spend a little bit more money than I would want to, and then I feel super bad about myself. Great. Oh, that is disgusting. Okay. Yeah, so I've decided that when I do feel a little bit more tightly wound, or I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to spiral at some point, I'm going to crash at some point, I like to give myself a $50 or $25, like, here's money that I can use to absolutely waste. Like, I can go and I can buy something that I might not even really want. I can like impulse buy, I can do anything. Obviously, if you're an overspender, if you struggle with overspending, if you have any sort of issues that might be perpetuated with this kind of practice, this kind of habit, you don't have to do it. But for me, and for someone who struggles with like underbuying, and someone who it has like a lot of money anxiety, this can help me and remind me to be like, okay, like you got to chill out. Like, you're going to waste the money. Here's some money to waste. Like, practice wasting it, So just my mindset. That's really a mindset thing. That's not like this will make you rich thing. It's like this will bring you more peace in your life kind of thing. So if you're looking for that, that's a possibility, but I know it can be really stressful for sure. Okay, tip number 7 is I feel worried saying this because some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're perpetuating like bad money habits. But for me, and this is what works, tip number 7 is not be perfect with your budgeting. So for example, I think this last year in June or July, I was like, okay, we're not doing a budget this month. Like, we need a budgeting cleanse. Obviously, we overspent. We were on vacation. Like, we went back to Oregon, which is where I'm from. So it's not that expensive a vacation. But when you're on vacation, like, ooh-doo-doo, gonna eat out, gonna buy this little treat, gonna buy this croissant, So yeah, we definitely spent more than we made that month, I think. That feels like so wrong to say, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, we spent more than we made that month. But did we save money? I can't remember. For me, that really helps to, again, remind me that's not something that's going to make me rich in the future. That's not something that's going to like build absolute wealth. It's just going to make me feel more at peace to know that I don't have to be perfect. And then, along with this tip of being like allowing yourself to not be perfect, is to extend self compassion to yourself. I feel like we are more likely to beat ourselves up than we are to be like, money is really emotional. Being a human being is hard. Money is really important and rarely talked about. Like, we're more likely to be like, I can't believe you overspent. I can't believe you overspent by $1. Like, that's insane. I can't believe you bought this when you said you're going to have a no spend week. Just reminding yourself, like, I'm human and this is really difficult, and money is a really charged topic, and it's like kind of secretive and I have no idea what's going on. That's really, really important. Recently, I just realized, I was like, wow, I'm so much better at mindfulness when it comes to my emotions about life and about myself and about relationships than I am about mindfulness when it comes to money and financial thoughts and feelings. And then I realized I've had 23 years of focusing on and being able to deal with having thoughts and feelings regarding to life and everything in general. But I've only really been caring about finances for the past like 5 years. So I have way less time. So maybe in 20 years, I'll feel the way I do about just life in general. But anyways, give yourself a little bit of compassion and allow yourself to not be perfect. Okay. Tip number 8 is to plan for your unexpected income. So I don't know if this happens to you guys. If it doesn't, I'm super sorry. But I feel like my husband and I, we come across unexpected income, whether that's a tiny bonus from work because you did a good job, or it's because you are getting some money from family, money for your birthday, things like that. So I really think it's important to plan for your unexpected income when you have a scarcity mindset. So for me, when we got unexpected income, boom, just slap that right into savings. Like, don't touch it, don't think about it. But then Connor's, I think it's his cousin or something, we got like $100 because we won this like game at his grandma's Christmas party. And she was like, you guys should use that money to go on a date or something, because that's the most important way you can use like this fun, unexpected money to bring joy to your life, into your relationship. And I thought that was such a good response. Now, obviously, if you're getting like an inheritance of $100,000, like, and then like you don't need to go crazy and spend all that $50,000 on a date. Obviously, that'd be so fun though. But taking some of your unexpected money and being like, okay, if it's under a certain amount, we're just going to use that and go out to a nice dinner. If it's $1,000, we're going to put 50% in a savings. 50% is no questions asked. We can just spend it on whatever. So basically, planning for your unexpected income helps as a scarcity mindset person and a money anxiety person, because then you can really, what's the word? You can really have times where you remember that money comes in and money comes out, and it's okay if you spend it when you didn't even plan on spending it. Okay, and then tip number 9 is to take breaks from talking and thinking about money. Basically, I had a time in my life where I would wake up, check the bank account, check my spreadsheet. You don't need to do that. Like, you can take time away from just thinking about your finances all the time. I know sometimes I talk too much about finances. Obviously, I love talking about finances, but my relationships with people don't have to just be like, anyways, did you see the price of this? Or did you know that X amount of people don't have any investments? Like, I don't have to spend all my time talking about money. And then when I let myself think about different things, money becomes less of a big thing in my life. I can have other facets of my life. I don't have to just always be thinking about money. And that really helps my mind just calm down and gives me financial peace when I'm not always thinking about it. So that's tip number 9. Tip number 10 is to change the way you talk about money. Now, this will take a little second to do because we have these money narratives that we've had from the time we could even talk. So I feel like changing the way you talk about money, saying that spending money is bad and it's only good to save, giving up and sacrificing everything in your whole life is a virtue. Like, I don't think it is. I think rewarding yourself and celebrating and letting loose and relaxing a little bit is just as important as sacrificing and working hard. So you can give yourself different money scripts to basically change the way that you relate to money and your relationship with money. And that has made all the difference. I also feel like I feel less embarrassed and less sheepish about money because I'm not always looking for other people's validation with money. I feel more empowered with money because I know it's my decision. It's not someone else's decision. And I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the facts, and I'm making my decisions based on that. Also based on being a loving, kind human being to myself. Those are my 10 like unique, kind of different tips for someone to get financial peace when they have a scarcity mindset. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I love making money videos. I hope this one was a good one. Fingers crossed. If you guys have a scarcity mindset, I feel like there's so much content out there about like, oh, being an overspender and like all those things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's so many things like tips and tricks about how to restrict yourself when it comes to money. And obviously you shouldn't go from a scarcity mindset to an overspender. Like, we got to find somewhere in the middle where you're happy, healthy, and you've got this meaningful life that you're supporting with money. But basically, I just feel like there's so much content out there for overspenders, but I have been through so much pain being someone who has this intense scarcity mindset. And so slowly over time, I am getting, a little bit better and better. But basically, I hope these tips really helped you guys. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be the first to know about these videos. Have a great day, you guys. Bye!